Hello and welcome to this video here where we're going to take a look at some grade 9 review. We're going to look specifically at solving linear equations and a couple of the steps that we need to do in order to solve that. So follow along. We're going to go through a bunch of questions, grab a piece of paper, try to solve it, pause the video for each question, and then come back and let's see how you have done on each one of those questions. So let's start with the first one here. We want to simplify this expression. So first of all, we have two different things that we're going to deal with. Number one, we're going to look at an expression. An expression is a statement. It's a value. It has some sort of variable usually in it. We don't know the value of that variable at this point, which is totally fine. But just understand that that is an expression. An equation, which we're going to take a look at later on, is when we actually have an equal sign and we can solve for the variable, or we might have a relationship between two variables, which we'll get into a little bit later on. So in this case here, we want to simplify this expression. And how we're going to do that is we're going to multiply the coefficient there, that 2, through the brackets and simplify it. When we do that, we have to make sure that we multiply both pieces by it. So here's that expression. Multiply the 2 both to the x, like that, and multiply the 2 to the 5, and we're going to get a new expression of 2x plus 10. Okay, so we're multiplying it through. Here's the next one. Try this one out, pause the video, and then come back when you have the answer. So let's go through the answer to this question here. We multiply the negative 3 to both pieces. The negative 3 times the 7 is going to give us negative 21. And the negative 3 times the negative y is going to give us positive 3y. Let's be careful about our multiplying rules, knowing that if we have the same sign, it's going to be positive. If we have different signs, it's going to be a negative. Okay, so in this case here, the negative 3 and the 7, different signs, give us a negative answer. The negative 3 and the negative y have the same sign, so give us a positive answer. All right, here's another one. Give this one a shot. What does it look like when we simplify? All right, let's take a look at the answer here. We have 4w, and we're multiplying to both the w and the negative 5. So we're going to get 4w squared and negative 20w. Remember that w times w is going to give us w squared, and then w times, well, nothing, gives us just a single w, and then we have to multiply the numbers together as well. All right, let's keep it going here. Here's another one. Let's multiply this one out. So pause the video and come back. Okay, so this case here, we have an m squared being multiplied, which means that m squared and m is going to give us m cubed. And then the 4 times 1 is 4, and we have m squared that follows along with that. All right, let's try another one. Okay, let's give this one a shot. Pause the video and come back. All right, with this one here, we're going to take a look. The answer is going to look like this: 28k plus 21k squared. We're doing okay so far? I hope so. All right, let's try another one here. This one has a couple different variables. So multiply these together, pause the video, come back when you're ready. All right, let's give this one a shot here. We have an A, a B, and a C. Just a reminder that when we multiply things together, we could have multiple variables in there. So we're going to have an A and a B in one of them, and an A and a C in the other. We have B squared, so that B squared stays. We also multiply the coefficients together. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And then make sure that we have the proper variable combinations that are in there as well. All right, how you feeling on that one? Good? I hope so. Okay, we're feeling comfortable. Remember, we call that the distributive property. It's multiplying something through the brackets. And we have to remember that we multiply that value through each term in the bracket. Let's do something a little different here. Let's solve for a variable. Now we have an equation, which could also be called an expression. Should probably call it an equation. Let's solve for m. So pause the video, solve for m, and then come back when you're ready. All right, welcome back here. Let's solve for m. What we have to remember here is to solve for m, we are trying to isolate it by itself. there is a term that's being added to the m. It's a positive term, 3. And so we need to subtract 3 from both sides, and you should get an answer of m equals 8, because 3 plus 8 equals 11. All right, let's try one with subtraction. Pause the video, and then come back when you're ready. Okay, so this one here, we need to get rid of the -5. The opposite of a -5 is a +5. So let's put a +5 on both sides. That's going to cancel the -5 out, but it's also going to make the 8 into 13 because y has to equal 13. We could always plug this value back in for y, and we would then get 13 minus 5 equals 8. We know that both sides are equal to each other. All right, let's solve for x. Pause the video and come back when you're ready. All right, to solve for x, we need to get rid of that 2. Now that 2 is a positive, but it's not being added or subtracted to x. It is being multiplied. And the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we have to divide both sides by 2, and we're going to get an answer of 10. Okay, so we got to divide both sides, by 2, both the 2x and the 10, and we're going to get an x value of 5. Sorry about that. It's an x value of 5. All right, here we go. Now we got some dividing. Okay, let's find the answer to k. Pause the video and come back when you're ready. All right, to get k by itself, we have to remove the denominator. One way to do that is to multiply both sides by the denominator, and that will remove it, and it's going to increase, or it's going to change the value of the other side. So multiplying both sides by 3 is going to give us a k value of -42. And that's going to be our answer there. All right, okay, so far so good. Let's try some two-step ones here. So we got 3n minus 7 is equal to 5. Pause the video, come back when you find the answer to n. All right, we're going to try to find the answer to n. The first thing we need to do is we want to remove the term, okay, that -7. There's a -7 there. To get rid of it, we need to do the opposite, so we have to give it a +7. And when we do that to both sides, we're going to get that 3n is equal to 12. The next step then is to get rid of the coefficient, divide every term by 3, and we're going to get an n value of 4. Here's another one for you to give a try out. Try to solve for w. Pause the video, come back when you're ready. Okay, so we're going to try for w here. So, the first thing we need to do, get rid of the 6. Okay, we have a +6. Don't worry about the +3 behind it. Worry about the +6 to start. And so to get rid of that, we need to put -6 on both sides, which gives us -15. Then remove the 3 by dividing by 3, and we get a w value of -5. Again, you can always plug this back in to w and try. So 6 plus 3 times -5, and that should give us an answer of -9, meaning that both the left and the right-hand sides are equal to each other. All right, next step. Here we go. Give this one a shot. Pause the video. Come back when you're ready. All right. This question right here has a couple of different ways of solving for it. We did talk earlier in the video about distributive property, and we can definitely use that. But another way to do it, and I'm going to do distributive property second, but another way to do it would be to divide by 2. When we divide both pieces by 2, now you have to remember this 2h plus 5 in brackets is actually just like a term, really, even though there's 2 different terms inside. Because of that, we can actually divide that whole thing by 2, and it will remove the 2 from there, and it'll also make the right-hand side -1. I think this is a bit of an easier way to do it once we understand that process, depending on how you want to do it. Okay. All right. At this point here, subtract 5, and we're going to get that h is -6. Like I said, we could do distributive property, which would give us 2h plus 10 plus -2. Now notice the different color, please. So this is a different kind of solution. Subtract 10 from both sides, then divide by 2, and you're also going to get an answer of -6. We should always get the same answer no matter how we go through it. It's just, again, a different path to get to the same answer. Okay, so there's different ways that we can do this. Let's solve this one. We have variables on both sides of the equation, so we're going to have to move one of them over in order to solve for the answer. Pause, find the answer, and then come back when you're ready. All right, let's try to solve this one here. Now, what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to move an x value from one side to the other. To do that, we have to put the opposite value on, so it's going to cancel it on one side, and then do the same thing to the other. Now, there's two ways we could do this. We could put a negative x on both sides, and that would get rid of the x on the left-hand side, so that one right there. Or we could put a positive 5 on both sides, and that'll get rid of the negative 5. I always like to try to put positives in, get rid of the negatives, so that's kind of my goal. So I'm going to put a positive 5 on both sides, which means that I'm now going to have 6x on the left-hand side and no x's on the right-hand side. I'm going to do the same thing with the numerical values, so the constants. I'm going to put a negative 3 on both sides, which is going to mean that the 5 goes down to 2. And then we need to divide by 6. And when you do that, you're going to get an answer of 1/3. Okay, so that's going to be an answer of 1/3. Just leave it like that. Don't make it into 0.3 repeated. That's not accurate. 1/3 is accurate, and it will stay exactly that way. All right, give this one a shot. Try it out. See how you do. Once you got your answer, unpause the video, and then we'll be back. Okay, this one has a little bit more to it. Because of the nature of it, I'm going to use distributive property, get rid of the brackets to start. That's kind of one thing we want to often do. So get rid of all the brackets, multiply that 6 through the brackets. You're going to get 6 plus 18k. Now we can start to move things around. So I'm going to add 6k to both sides. And because I'm trying to move the 6k over onto the right-hand side, I'm going to move the 6 onto the left-hand side. So that means that I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides as well. So I'm going to simplify it really quickly. Okay, so I did both those pieces at the same time. Then divide by 24, and we're going to get a k value of -1. Again, you can plug it back into the original equation, and you should find that both the left and the right-hand side are going to equal to the same thing. All right, next one. Use distributive property, find your answer, and then unpause the video once you're ready. Okay, let's give this one a shot here. I would not divide to start. Okay, that would be an option, but you're going to get a fraction, and we just don't like fractions. So let's use distributive property right off the bat. Multiply the first bracket by 3, the second bracket by 4, and you're going to end up with 6m minus 12 is equal to 12m plus 24. Now, I'm going to do it all again at the same time. So I'm going to subtract 24 and subtract 6m. And when I do that, I'm going to get -36 is equal to 6m. Now, the reason I subtracted 6m instead of 12m is because by subtracting 6, I'm going to end up with a positive on the right-hand side instead of a negative on the left-hand side. So that's why I subtract the smaller one, because they're both positive. If there's a negative in there, I'm going to try to find a way to get positives in there. But with two positives, just subtract the smallest one. Divide both sides by 6, and we're going to get an m value of -6. All right. Gladly pause the video and try this one. Or if it's kind of getting a little bit late in class, you can just speed through this one. But I'll give the second a pause, and then I'll go through the answer. All right, this one, it deals with the same kind of thing. It just has a lot in it. First things you want to do, simplify the right-hand side, okay, by combining the -4w and the -8w to becomes -12w. Multiply through the brackets, so you're going to get -5 plus 25w minus 40w minus 10. Combine all of our like terms there on the left-hand side. Add 15w to both sides, divide by 3, and you're going to get a w value of -5. All right, this one here, there's a couple ways of doing it. My animations aren't exactly in sync, so I'm sorry about that. I'll explain my way, and then I'll show you the animations later. But pause your video, try to solve for k, and then come back when you're ready. All right, Let's try to solve this one here. Because we have denominators, we need to get rid of the denominators. That's what we want to do. One way that I have seen this done is to multiply everything by a common multiple of our denominator. 4, 6, and 3, they're all different. So I would multiply by 12. Another way that I have seen and that I kind of like is to make a common denominator. So I'm going to make a common denominator of 12, which looks kind of like this. I multiplied the first fraction by 3, multiplied the second fraction by 2, and then multiplied the last one by 4. And this is what I come up with. Now, because we have the same denominator across the board, we can actually just multiply everything by 12. It'll get rid of the denominator, and we're left with this. Now, subtract 2k from both sides, and we're going to get this. And here are my animations that I did not get in there. But we should get an answer of -4. Again, if you plug all these values into the original question, or plug -4 into the original question, you will get the two sides are equal to each other as well. All right, here's another one. Give this one a shot. Try it out. All right, welcome back here. In a question like this here, first things first, get rid of the denominator. That's the first thing we want to do. We always want to try to clean that up. So I'm going to multiply by 8. Because it's v minus 4 on top, that's like it's in brackets. So by multiplying by 8, it doesn't change the top. It only removes the denominator. And we're going to get 24 on the right-hand side. Add 4 to both sides, and we get a v value of 28. V value. Really should never use v in that case there. At least the way I talk. It's a nice variable though. All right, let's solve for y. Okay, give this one a shot. Try to figure out what it is. See if you can do the math behind it. The solving should be easy, but the math could be a little more difficult. Pause the video. Come back when you're ready. All right, let's go through and solve this one here. My guess is that most of you can probably look at this one and see, oh, the answer is 3. Yes, it is. But how do we do this mathematically? We need to get rid of the denominator. And even though it's a variable, that's totally fine. We're going to multiply both sides by y, which is going to remove the variable from the right-hand side, or sorry, the left-hand side, and move it onto the right-hand side as a part of a term. So we're going to be left with this. Okay, so we multiply both sides by y. Now divide by 5, and we're going to get a y value of 3, and that's going to give us our answer. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it's helped give you a little more of a review of the grade 9 linear equations, and I hope that you'll be able to do just fine as you work through the assignment. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day.